I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay guys, late spring, early summer update here. The market is heating up here now. I'm seeing a lot of record-setting prices here across the board on condos, townhomes, duplexes, detached homes. This is something that I've been forecasting here for a while, since last fall. I was saying that, population keeps going up, interest rates are going to be coming down, which I'm going to tell you about here in a minute. They're not building anything. Developers are on the sidelines with our current interest rate environment, with our current socialist government, which is anti-business. Of course, pre-sale condos depend a lot on the investor buyer, and they're not there right now because, hey, the NDP has a war on investors, on landlords, small mom and pops, with all their outlandish taxes and restrictions and everything being weighted towards the tenant. And I've said that, market is going to pick up probably sometime in summer, late spring, summer 2024. And it has. So I'll give you guys some frontline stories here like I always do. It won't be anecdotal or theory. I'll give you practical stuff from my team, my listings that I've recently sold, also some of my adventures on the buying side right now in the crazy bidding wars I'm getting into on quality homes, and that's what I'll set aside here too. It is still a bit of a tale of two markets. There are some things that aren't selling all that quickly right now. It's limited on what isn't selling, but there is a few that I'll get into. First things first here, headline here in the Globe and Mail last week. Canadian housing agency bizarrely forecasts record home prices in a weak economy. Goes on to say that CMHC now is forecasting existing home prices will surge 20% higher. CMHC sees home prices rising at a face-ripping rate across the country. They're currently forecasting the average sale price of an existing home will rise 20% by the end of 2026. I'd probably agree with this. The reasons for that are pretty straightforward. Especially in a city like Vancouver, very popular city. Populations continue to grow. I know there's a lot of complaints about immigration numbers and all that. I think there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 40,000 new arrivals every year coming into the Lower Mainland. Of course, we're not building anything, as I've said before. There's a few luxury condos that'll be trickled in, ultra luxury in downtown Vancouver, but the rest have either been on the sidelines for sunnier days, or a lot of them I've blogged about many times here over the last 6 months have been converted from condo strata to market rental, and those will be fun. Sure, we need more rental, and I've gone on many blogs on this. Great to provide more rental, but it's going to be market rate rental, so $3,200 for a small one bed, $4,500 for a two bed, and it'll be in a market rental building, 100% rental. Those are fun. They're like a circus animal house. You'll see 100% renters, endless moving in and out, endless noise violations, smoking, partying, unauthorized parties in there, illegal Airbnbs. They thrive on these rental-only buildings. They'll get caught, of course, but they'll go on for 3 or 4 months running it as an illegal hotel. So you'll see. I mean, I know this from experience. I've had many, many tenants over the years that have come to rent one of my units after being in a rental-only building. But the NDP, of course, has a war on that, but more for that later. But, some of the other things, construction costs have skyrocketed here. I'm seeing more and more of that talked about here. We've got a lack of construction, skilled trades workers here too. So we're very limited on what we can build anyways. Of course, interest rates are, higher, but coming down. So let me give you guys kind of a tale right from the front lines here on what's selling here and some of the stuff I've been into here. So I'll give you a few things here. Recent sales here. A fully detached duplex in Strathcona I sold 10 days ago. It surprised me. It was a really nice house. 8 years old, absolute mint condition, beautifully furnished. We had everything going for us. Now, this neighborhood, though, is an area that's being gentrified. It's not the greatest. It's definitely not what I would call a family-friendly neighborhood. It's basically light industrial. We're at Clark Drive and Hastings, East Hastings here. But I was surprised. I ended up selling it with about 15 days on market, subject free, 99% of full ask. And that was again, that was about 2.5 weeks ago. Market is continuing to rise up here because there was another very similar home to mine that got listed a week after I sold. I saw that they just sold it with 7 days on market, also at pretty much full asking price. This is a new record price here, folks, price per square foot for these homes in this area. Give you an example. My guy bought this home only 2 years ago and has a lift on it of about $200,000. I was not expecting that. It was a great home. I figured it would sell in a pretty timely manner. Not that quick though, especially for that neighborhood. A couple other examples here. Just sold a luxury one-bedroom condo in West Vancouver, just across from the Lionsgate Bridge. Now, this is what I would call kind of a special unit, very high-end luxury building, 1 year old, 610 square feet. This just sold for just under $1 million. So we're well over $1,400, close to $1,500 a square foot on this unit. Again, a little surprising. Sold it. I did holdback. Sold it 1 week, 8 days on market. I only got one offer, but it was a good one. 99% full ask, subject free. Again, surprised me a little bit, but again, it was a bit of a special unit, unobstructed views of the city, not a whole lot of inventory competing against this unit. Sold quickly. Again, record-setting price here. Give you another one. We'll go down to something less pricey. Oh, by the way, that Strathcona townhome duplex was just over $1.5 million. Let's bring it down in price. Just had a older wood frame, 35 years old, in central Richmond, Brig House. This was a trustee sale. It was an as-is, where-is sale. And I've told you guys, I've got some of my bigger clients are trustees. This unit, it had a lot going for it, in a way that it was a good older strata. I have sold in this strata before. It's on Minaroo Boulevard. The unit was top floor, so it had some overheight ceilings on the top floor and faced south on the quiet side of the building, although both ends of the building are quiet. It's a quiet street on Minaroo. But it was a as-is, where-is sale, so none of the appliances worked. This was an original owner, 35 years old. The unit was pretty rough inside, not livable. Everything needed to be fully renovated: flooring, kitchen, appliances, bathrooms. Fairly heavy smoker. I've had worse. I'd say this guy was maybe a half a pack a day smoker, but I've had units that I've sold through trustees and other sales where they've been a 2-pack a day smoker. So the walls were pretty yellowed. They might be able to get away with some sealant and then several coats of paint, and you might get away with the yellowed walls because they weren't extremely bad, but they were bad. If you guys are aware, you know, I've had units where a guy's been in there for 20 years smoking 2 packs a day. The walls are completely tobacco stained. I don't know if a lot of people realize that you cannot get rid of that tobacco staining or the smell. It'll just seep out of the drywall. So in those situations, you have to tear out all the drywall and start fresh. That can easily run $20,000, $25,000 right there. But back to this one. Listed it. Now with all my trustee sales, we show it for 8 to 10 days, then look at offers. I ended up with 11 offers on this home. Sold $80,000 over asking. This is a all-time new price record for a unrenovated unit, even though it was top floor in a relatively good strata. This is far and away a new price record, which I think will probably surprise some people, especially the critics that I see saying that Vancouver real estate is crashing and just wait for these interest rate renewals, it's going to crash the market. We would have seen that by now, guys. 40% of owners are on a variable rate, so they've already absorbed a lot of those interest rate hikes. But again, record-setting price here for this older wood frame in Richmond. So I'll give you just quickly here what isn't selling here. Oh, sorry. Let's just quickly what else is hot on the buy side. So as you guys know, I'm always working with investor clients and end users for downtown condos. I'm buying 2, 3, 4 condos a month on the buy side. Even though I do a lot of listings, I'm on the buy side too. I work both ends. I'm always getting in clients, investors, and end users into some good older strata in the West End. I've talked about this. I've got probably half a dozen, 8, 9 really good older concrete strata that I'm always going after. I have them on a close watch list. And once I see one hit, if I've got an end user that's looking for something, I'm going to send it. But I've also got a pretty good Rolodex of investors that are always interested in these units. I have been in some crazy bidding wars here the last 4 weeks, guys, on these. I think I've been talking about the West End, some of these older ones, too much on my blog, because I used to not have all that much competition on these. They kind of snuck under the radar. Lately, though, for the last 8-10 months, I have been in some pretty bad bidding wars on all these. So I'll give you an example here. I've offered on 3 in the last 10 days. I bought one successfully, subject free, way over ask, bank draft attached, whatever that seller wants for closing dates. And I've lost out on 2 others here, and these were some pretty crazy bidding wars. We're talking 6 on one, 5 on the other. We came in way over asking price, bank draft attached, subject free, and still lost. These 2 that I lost out on, I can tell you, are, again, all-time record-setting price per square foot for these stratas. One of them was in decent shape, livable, but could use some freshening up. The other one needed a pretty complete reno. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow, I'm involved in one I'm going after, a nicely renovated one in one of my preferred West End strata. We'll see what happens. We're coming in subject-free, bank draft, over ask, but we'll see tomorrow. I know I'm going to be in some pretty heavy competition. So what I'm seeing in these, to summarize here, is a flight to quality that I've talked about before. These condos are in high demand. They are impeccably maintained, usually the strata, or sometimes the unit has been fully renoed, or like that Strathcona duplex. And they're in good locations. So they're quality homes at all price categories. Those are the ones people are going after. What I'm seeing right now that's a little bit on the lighter side right now, that's a little tougher sale, is newer condos, let's call them 1 to 2, 3 years old, 4 years old, in areas like Metrotown, Central Richmond Brighouse, or Capstan Way, or out in Brentwood. I've got a listing out in Brentwood right now. It's a nice 2-bed, 2-bath. It's vacant, ready to move into. Mint condition, pretty much brand new. It's 3 years old, but it's a tough sledding out there, because in the particular strata that I'm selling in now, there's our unit and 14 others for sale in a strata that has about 250 units. In some nearby strata built around the same time, again, there's 8, 9, 10 units in every tower out there. And part of the problem with these areas like Brentwood, Metrotown, Central Richmond, there's supply out there. There's an abundance of supply, and there's more coming. There's all kinds of pre-sale centers opening up. For instance, I had one in Capstan Way recently that, I was competing against. Well, first off, there was a whole bunch of new condos that had just been completed at various stages. And then there's some completing next year. And then there's a bunch of pre-sales coming on that are selling now for completion in 2028. So it's a buyer's dreamland out there. There's so much selection. Tough to get a lot of traction out there when you're competing against 40 or 50 other 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom units in that market, in that area. So those are a little tougher sell. But we'll see what happens. I think as I speak right now, it's late May. I'm getting ready to go away for a week here. Not sure when this blog is going to air, probably in early June, but we've got a Bank of Canada meeting June 5th. There's I think right now I see a 65% chance that we get a 1/4 point drop in interest rates. If we don't, then it's much higher for the next Bank of Canada meeting, I think in late July. So I think when that happens, we're going to see another bump up here, because according to the Globe and Mail, there's a whole lot of buyers on the sidelines right now that want to buy, need to buy, but they don't want to get in front of anything yet. They want to wait until there's a tangible interest rate drop, at least 1 or maybe 2, then they're going to wade into the market. And that's why I've been saying since the beginning of the year, I think smart buyers here earlier this year are looking pretty good because they got in ahead of where the market is at right now. They didn't have as much competition then. Interest rate reductions were nowhere on the horizon. Now, of course, as we get nearer to the first interest rate drop, I think people are trying to get in front of it a little bit more. But it is a bit of a tale of two markets here. High quality units, high quality detached homes, duplexes, good stuff in the West End, downtown. Even a luxury, kind of a unique luxury unit in West Van with incredible views, kind of one of a kind, are selling and selling quick at record-setting prices. What's not selling is quite as much, at least not yet, is areas like Brentwood, Metrotown, Central Brighouse, Capstan Way, where there is a lot of new or newer inventory that's out there right now, and a lot more in pre-sale coming down the road. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.